Okay. Stream to that. Okay. I'm going to, oh, it says I'm live. Hello. Hello there, Lisa Marie. I'm going to wait just a couple of minutes here to see if anybody hops on here. I think I'm in the wrong spot for doing these lives because I'm in a spot where I can't see the chat box or to see if anybody is on here. So I must be doing this the wrong way, but I'm going to have to just go with it. I learn as I go, I guess. Okay, so tonight, and I apologize for my tardiness, but tonight I had issues. They're improving though. Chapter 3, the book, The Science of Getting Rich, by Wallace Wattles, written in 1910. Every Tuesday, I'm going through this book. So if you are here with me, thank you so much for bopping in here. And I hope you get some value out of this. I've been reading this book for 3 going on 4 years now, and have only just taken it real serious just this year, I guess, since Robert started his masterminds, the book club, you know, which he hadn't done for quite some time. And it's really kind of cool because it kind of has changed Robert too. I mean, all of us can grow by, you know, just in delving into this book. It's not a book that can be read just one time. We were studying it, like, you know, picking each chapter apart, learning the principles of this book. And when you follow the principles and you live by those principles, then your life does start to change. But I'll tell you what, people around you, I don't know what it is. If it's let's just read the chapter first and then we'll get into that, because I think this one always just kind of gets me fired up, gets me sad, and it gets me fired up. It brings out the rebellion in me for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but I was going to let you guys listen to chapter 3 because I kind of had a pretty bad toothache today, but I think I'm just gonna do it. So no excuses. All right. And I hope, I don't know if anybody's out there or not, or if you are there, at least drop your name and let me know that you're here so that, you know, I can say hey and thank you, all that. I came on here yesterday and I talked a little bit about my channel, and I may do that at the end, but let's get into chapter 3. Is opportunity monopolized? Okay, no man is kept poor because opportunity has been taken away from him, because other people have monopolized the wealth and have put a fence around it. You may be shut off from engaging in business in certain lines, but there are other channels open to you. Probably it would be hard for you to get control of any of the great railroad systems. Remember, we're talking, this is back in 1910. That field is pretty well monopolized. The electric railroad business is still in its infancy and offers plenty of scope for enterprise. And it will be it will be a very few years until traffic and transportation through the air will become a great industry, and in all its branches will give employment to hundreds of thousands and perhaps to millions of people. Why not turn your attention to the development of aerial transportation instead of competing with J.J. Hill and the others for a chance in the steam railway world? So I guess they're talking about, you know, going with the tides. There are always tides and trends, and getting in front of that train, like that momentum pushing you. That's how I kind of perceive it. But I know the whole book, so maybe that's a not, just disregard that maybe yet. Okay. It is quite true that if you are a workman in the employ of the Steel Trust, you have very little chance of becoming the owner of the plant in which you work. But it is also true that if you will commence in to act in a certain way, you can soon leave the employ of the Steel Trust. You can buy a farm or from 10 to 40 acres and engage in business as a producer of foodstuffs. There is great opportunity at this time for men who will live upon small tracts of land and cultivate the same intensively. Such men will certainly get rich. You may say that it is impossible for you to get the land, but I'm going to prove to you that it is not impossible, and that you can certainly get a farm if you will go to work in a certain way. At different periods, the tide of opportunity sets in different directions according to the needs of the whole and the particular stage of social evolution which has been reached. At present, in America, it is setting toward agricultural and the allied industries and professions. Today, opportunity is open before the factory worker in his line. It is open before the businessman who supplies the farmer more than before the one who supplies the factory worker, and before the professional man who waits upon the farmer more than before the one who serves the working class. There is abundance of opportunity for the man who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. So the factory workers, either as individuals or as a class, are not deprived of opportunity. The workers are not being kept down by their masters. They are not being ground by the trust and the combinations of capital. As a class, they are where they are because they do not do things in a certain way. If the workers of America chose to do so, they could follow the example of their brothers in Belgium and other countries and establish great department stores and cooperatives, industries. They could elect men of their own class to office and pass laws favoring the development of such cooperative industries. And in a few years, they could take peaceable possession of the industry field. Excuse me, I'll take a sip. The working class may become the master class whenever they will begin to do things in a certain way. The law of wealth is the same for them as it is for all others. This they must learn, and they will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance or the mental slothfulness of his class. He can follow the tide of opportunity to riches, and this book will tell him how. No one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply of riches, which is more than enough for all. A palace as large as the capital of Washington might be built for every family on earth from the building material in the United States alone, and under intensive cultivation. This country would produce wool, cotton, linen, and silk enough to clothe every person in the world. Finer than Solomon was arrayed in all his glory, together with food enough to feed them all luxuriously. The visible supply is practically inexhaustible, and the invisible supply really is inexhaustible. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made, and older ones are dissolving, but all are shapes assumed by one thing. You know, that kind of reminds me of like when cell phones first came out. You guys remember that big old box you know, it had that long cord on it. You had to chug that thing along. They've come a long way over the years. And how many of you out there said, you know, I'll never use one of those cell phones. I'll never use one. And look at us today. So just, you know, leave your mind open for expansion. Once it's closed off, it's like it can't expand. Once it's open for expansion, it's like it can never go back. That is so cool. That's what that fires me up. Anyway, I'll continue. All right, so where was I? Okay, there is no limit to the supply of formless stuff or original substance. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. The spaces in, through, and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated and filled with the original substance. With the formless stuff, with the raw material of all things, 10,000 times as much has been made, might still be made. And even then, we should not have exhausted the supply of universal raw material. No man, therefore, is poor because nature is poor, or because there is not enough to go around. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. Original substance is alive with creative energy and is constantly producing more forms. When the supply of building material is exhausted, more will be produced. When the soil is exhausted, so that foodstuffs and materials for clothing will no longer grow upon it, it will be renewed, or more soil will be made. When all the gold and silver has been dug from the earth, if man is still in such a stage of social development that he needs gold and silver, more will be produced from the formless. The formless stuff responds to the needs of man. It will not let him be without any good thing. This is true of man collectively. The race as a whole, as always, is always abundantly rich. And if individuals are poor, it is because they do not follow the certain way of doing things, which makes the individual man rich. The formless stuff is intelligent. It is stuff which thinks. It is alive, and it is always impelled toward more life. It is in the natural and inherent impulse of life to seek to live more. It is in the nature of intelligence to enlarge itself, and of consciousness to seek to extend its boundaries and find fuller expression. The universe of forms has been made by formless living substance, throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. The universe is a great living presence, always moving inherently toward more life and fuller functioning. Nature is formed from the advancement of life. Its impelling motive is the increase of life. For this cause, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. You are not kept poor by lack in the supply of riches. It is a fact which I shall demonstrate a little farther on, that even the resources of the formless supply are at the command of the man or woman, for the man or woman who will act and think in a certain way. Okay, that was quite good. I don't know how you guys thought about that. This is just a little bit bothersome because I have to be going live the not quite the right way. I mean, I believe I'm live, but I should be able to see interaction and be able to interact with people. So if you're watching and you see this and you know what I'm doing wrong, could you please leave me a comment? I would love that. I'm not too proud to ask for help. And also, if you could click subscribe and like, I have to get to 1,000 subscribers. I am a long ways away. I wasn't even at 80. Maybe 80. Anyway, I'm not even at 100 and I need to get to 1,000 in order to monetize this channel. And that is for my future buddy's place, animal rescue retreat, something along the lines for animals, and also my summer camp for the orphans. I just say that out loud and I get so excited. You know what? I can do this. I can do this. I think it'd be so cool. And especially because nobody thinks I can. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. The summer camp actually has got me more fired up than the I thought it was the animals, but you know what? They both make me giddy. So why not go for both, right? That's what I'm saying. So anyway, let's talk about chapter 3, why opportunity is not monopolized. He pretty much said it in the chapter. I guess what gets me fired up in this one is just the thought that we all were meant for so much more, and really that should not make you sad. At first it did kind of make me sad, but it just, I don't know, it kind of excites me because the possibilities are endless as long as you set your mind to it. Mindset has to be a priority. It has to be a priority if you're gonna be successful. And being rich, I'm not talking just money. You know, there's so much more to do with it than just money. I mean, happiness, joy, fulfillment, you know, I don't know. It seems like once my mind, I was pretty much set in place for my life to live out whatever, work 40 years, you know, retire, and and I still, you know, I'm retired now, and that's great. And we got a beautiful piece of land and we have so much we can do here, and we do. But I want to, there's more. There's more, you know, there's more of me to express. And I think that's why this chapter kind of just really, I don't know, ignites me, or it actually brings out the rebellious in me more so, I guess, because it's like, I don't know. I tell people about my vision and, you know, yeah, whatever. I don't know, I kind of feel silly, but I'm getting to the point where, you know what? I don't care. I can dream and wish for whatever I want, right? And so should you, because I'll tell you what, there's probably 2 to 5% of the population that actually live to their full potential. In a way, that's sad, but don't let it make you sad, because you could start right now. You could start today. What is it? What is your dreams? You know, I did a live here last week and talked about, you know, those dreams when you're a little girl, a little boy, whoever, you know, and what I sat there and daydreamed about was so limited, to it's just like, wow, you know, that's kind of crazy. You know what I find too that's sad is when kids are kids, I mean, we can't wait for them to walk and talk, and then we can't wait, sit down and be quiet. Sit down and be quiet. Don't be daydreaming. Don't be looking out the window. Can you sit still? And are we limiting their imagination? That's what I feel. I don't know. This kind of get into a different talk here, but this all has to do with what this chapter is kind of saying. It's up to that person to do things in a certain way and act in a certain way. And that book talks about those throughout the whole book. It's a pretty tiny book, you know. I it's a pretty tiny book. And remember what I said before, read chapters 4, 14, and 7 in that order. If you have not read this book before, start with those 3 chapters and read it. It takes 23 minutes to read those 3 chapters. So, and you know what? If you don't have time to, I like to read the book continuously from day to day. I mean, I've read it thoroughly or through many times now. And each chapter has a specific principle. And so after you get used to, learning what those principles are, but not just learning them, actually living by those principles is, and that's what I admire about my mentor. That's exactly what he does. Yeah. And him bringing this book back out again, and he's gifted it to everybody he's ever probably ran into. So I'm assuming he has given millions of this book away. He gives his book away free too. He also is in love with the orphans. He takes care of 2,500 orphans. Did you know that? And by himself, that's how many he supports right now, every single month. He wants to get that up to 25,000. I would love to help him do that. So until I get my 1,000 subscribers, I can't monetize this. So I am gonna ask him if I can put his thing on my videos until I can get my own up and going, because his is going for the same things, orphans and animals. How cool is that? So that way, that's a win-win. If it takes me a while to get my 1,000, I figured I have to give value every single day in order to get followers. So hopefully you will subscribe, or at least give me a thumbs up that you liked the video. Let me know that you were here so I can say hello. And I'm going to be doing a lot of lives right here. So I just got to get over myself and do it. Maybe it's a good thing I don't see that anybody's on or the comments, because I probably would get pretty nervous. So maybe this is a good way to break me in. Let's see. What else about chapter 3? So living in the same neighborhood, if you there's people think there's parts of the world that are more in scarcity, and there are parts of the world that are more in abundance. But this really is not true, because anywhere in the world that you go, there can be people living on the same street, in the same igloo, I don't know, in the same whatever, the same community, and working in the same business even. One is rich, one is poor. What does that tell you? According to this book, it's because one is not doing things in that certain way, and he's not thinking in that certain way. And I believe that certain way is all for one and one for all. If we are going to advance, we want to take others with us. We don't want to be that competitive. person. We need to not compare ourselves to other people, because we each are in a spot of our specific journey. No two of us are alike, and we are all at different parts of that journey. Some of us are late bloomers, some of us aren't, some are smart, some aren't, some are beautiful, some aren't. It doesn't matter. It only matters that you do things in that certain way. So, I guess that's about all. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them. I get kind of tongue-tied. As soon as I get off here, I'm going to think of all these things I should have added. Oh, I should have said that. I should have said that. It's really interesting, because every time I go through this book, every time I catch something different. And what's really, I don't know if this is good or bad, but it's like, I will get to one point in the book, and it was like, oh, I had an aha moment, oh, okay, hey, I get that now. Right? And then I go along my merry way, and then I get to something else, and it's like, it's like, you didn't get it back then. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to have the right mindset to receive some of the things that I am telling you, or some of the things that I'm reading to you in this book. You know what I mean? I've got the right words for the ears that are ready for that. Not everybody is going to be. Doesn't mean that makes them bad, or that we need to get down on them or belittle them. We have no right to take anybody else's dream away and make them feel inferior for any reason. I mean, because it's not a competition. There is enough abundance in the entire world for everybody. This is what God intended, I do believe. And all for one for all. If you are being competitive, you know what? It may happen for you. You may still be successful. I don't believe that you will be happy. I don't believe you will be fully happy. Just my thoughts. I don't know. Time will tell. Anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Thank you so much. I will be back again next Tuesday. Hopefully tomorrow. No, I will not be on tomorrow. I almost forgot. I have appointments all day, so I will not be here tomorrow, but I promise I will be back on Thursday with something good. And I am going to go hop over to my Facebook profile right now, and I'm going to do a live right there, because now I'm on a roll. I'm going to do a box unveiling. I got some new stuff, and I'm super excited to share that with you. So if follow me over there, that would be wonderful. I do believe it should be in the description, the link to Facebook. If it's not, it's just Lisa Marie. Just look up Lisa Marie Cook. I got the same profile picture, so it should be easy to find me. And if you subscribe, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Going for 1,000. So thank you if you help me. All right.